Huge congratulations to ESG, though. Now comes the big challenge against Gamizer. Not sure if they can actually take it, but there's a huge chance that it is real. And I'm definitely going to be rooting for them, although Gamizer remains the favorite for me. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I do think so as well, because I think Gamizer, they really played even a bit better. They just looked so smooth in all their games, and ESG, they're gonna have, yeah, a bad time playing against them. It's gonna be very difficult for them. But if they can do it, if they can stick to their play style, and if they are just calmed down now, and if they just found their rhythm, there's definitely the possibility that they take it. But as always, they have to focus on their jungler. They have to focus on Donards. He has to be the one that sticks up again, because we have seen him fail pretty heavily in that first game. So his performance has to be top notch in order to carry his team through these finals here.
Oh man, and yeah, even the Varus for Notorious Hale did not work out completely. He just got demolished, and I did not expect to see that happen. After his very good first game, on when he picked up that Varus, I expected it at least to be okay. Definitely not so pummeled into the ground. So ESG proving that they are able to outplay the enemies even on one of their most comfortable champions. So that's quite nice. And the Fiora worked out really well. Now for Gamizer is the challenge of banning out, like going for the bans that will really hit Euronics, because at the moment I think that it might be really hard to do. I don't think that there is this one clear ban that is going to grant them the real advantage in the up and coming match.
Exactly. It's going to be difficult to really set up some bans here. We've seen it yesterday. Isuba, they were able to make some good bans targeting their opponents there, and they really hurt the other team with just going for some nice bans. In this case, both of these player sets, they are just so broadly skilled with all the champion pool that they have to their abilities, and so it's going to be a bit difficult to really pick the nice ban out here.
For now, though, we know that Euronics is still in the game alongside with the Gamizer team in Group C. Impact Gaming out, where Euronics actually were struggling in the match. Supernova out, with Euronics very, very confidently crushing them. So these guys from game to game are just getting consistently better and better and better. And they were knocked down to the lower brackets. I was really afraid for them with Gamizer winning in the first match. I thought that maybe Euronics are already out of the competition, especially seeing that it's the second team, not the main team. Maybe lost a little bit of confidence in that team. But these guys are impressing me even more just like that. And as I mentioned during the game against Supernova, maybe they made it harder on purpose. Maybe they just lost this first match to have a little bit more fun in the tournament right here, though that probably is not true, but just for the laughs. Yeah, it's really nice to see. Finally, we get that. And as we said, Group C was supposed to be that most interesting group, the most evened out, that can show us the greatest matches, and I think we got it this far.
Yeah, definitely. And before we go taking on with the last minutes before that final, before watching Gamizer versus Euronics, just let's take another look at what awaits us tomorrow, because tomorrow we will have the final day of the group stage. So it's going to be Group D: Bulldog Esports, iDomina, FTW Esports, and TES Gaming. We were talking about it already. So the last two remaining Italian teams, but I do not really expect too much from them. On the other hand, FTW Esports might be the favorite, as Nero already pointed out, to make it into the offline finals. So this is definitely going to be a great day tomorrow. So check us out again if you want to. Just also something on the line to win. Nero, what is going to be our giveaway tomorrow?
Our giveaway tomorrow is going to be a League of Legends figurine. I don't know. One of the 8 that was posted on ELC Gaming's Facebook. So you can go ahead and check it out right there. Maybe you're going to like one of the figurines yourself. But It's random actually which one gets picked out. As you, Marvin, actually said a little bit earlier, we don't know it ourselves what it's gonna be. But today is Firecracker Jinx, and I was like, now when I was looking at that big picture, like you've got the regular champions, the ones that are not so much liked, and then you've got these exclusive skins. So I thought like, yeah, they're probably gonna give out the regular ones, and they're gonna save the super skins for some special occasions. And no, we've got the Firecracker Jigs. In my opinion, the best figurine given away today already. So I'm surprised. So you really don't know what it is gonna be tomorrow, but happy to see that something is really happening actually. And yeah, talking about tomorrow's group, as you mentioned, iDomina and TES. That's the thing. If we actually have a team that plays well in the tomorrow's group, we might already have two teams that are completely irrelevant in that case because the Italian teams just didn't prove too good, and these are going to be at the same pretty much level compared to Impact Gaming and Outplayed. iDomina and TES are going to be on very similar level. I don't really know exactly the standings of that league at the moment, but Outplayed was right at the top, and Impact Gaming was fighting for the top alongside with Team Forge. So iDomina and TES are even further behind. So they're definitely not going to be the best Italian teams that we get to see right here. Then Bulldog Esports and FTW, it's a huge chance for them to get an easy win in the group.
Yeah, definitely. And just looking at the bets, everybody is expecting this to be a very close game that's right ahead of us, Gamizer versus Euronics Gaming. And it's also good to see that you at home, that you like to place those bets. And we were talking about it yesterday about the viewer participation, and I really love that because also for me as a commentator, it's just fun to place a bet on who do you expect to win. And it's just good to see that you guys are really keeping it up. So thanks for that, and thank you for watching our stream. If you have anything to tell us, if you want to complain about something, or if you want to motivate us to keep the stuff as it is, just let us know. It would be good to just have some feedback in there. And also Nero Integrate, who's doing such a great job at casting. He's really doing a good job now for the third day in a row. So just let us know.
Yeah, so the last match ahead of us, actually, talking about these bets, the prize pools are even getting much bigger right here. So sometimes we reach like 500 betties in the prize pool. Right now we've got over 2,000. But yeah, the most important one was the first match of the day where Euronics lost against Gamizer, where a lot of people actually bet on Euronics and only one person bet on Gamizer. He got everything right there. So that was, I think, the biggest victory in the history of this channel this far. Right now, though, it's going to be a little bit closer. It's not going to be so easy to take all the money. Yeah, so still a couple of minutes remaining before we head into the picks and bans of this matchup. But ESG, as I mentioned, it's really going to be hard to outban them. And especially, I would love to talk about Don Arts because this guy has proved he can play the Elise very well. He's proved that he can also go for a very mechanics-heavy champion and still thrive on it. He's not going to bend or break. So maybe he's even going to go back to the Kazakhs in this last matchup to prove that it was just a single hiccup and he can even beat Gamizer with it. Not sure if he's going to try to risk it, but for Gamizer, it's going to be a tough call. And I think that we might be seeing a Zaya right here. I mean, Gamizer went for it against Supernova. They might be trying to repeat that, but I also think that Euronics could go for it to maybe a little bit surprise in the last game and to possibly get as strong champions as possible for this match. So, so yeah, that Zaya is definitely in the cards. There's definitely the Lee Sin. The Fiora, I very much liked it in the top lane, but then the Kenner was also very good. And if I remember correctly, this the top lane player from Euronics can also play Rumble, but we don't have a lot of info on that. But still, J-Span should be pretty important against Tsukuyomi. That I think they should go for. Then Elise, that belonged to the tower, also was pretty impressive. So maybe Euronics will want to take it away for themselves. Yeah, a lot of these pocket picks are still up in the air, and you still got to ban the golden standards. So it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, definitely. And talking about that, Elise, he really did a great job on that. But there's only 3 bans available here for Euronics Gaming, so they have to be on point. And I really doubt that they will have the possibility to really hurt Gamizer with just those 3 bans. But still, you want to make the most out of that. And Gamizer, on the other hand, I just hope that they are able to give it their best again, because as I already said, they've been waiting for more than 2 hours now, and they're sitting in these finals for quite a long time. Euronics, they are hot. They are on a streak right now, making it from the bottom up. And this is going to be very, very interesting. On the other hand, talking about Xayah that you expect as an AD carry maybe for Gamizer, maybe for Euronics Gaming, what are you expecting for the supports? Because yesterday and the day before we haven't we saw a lot of Zyra today. That didn't really come through here. So are we maybe gonna see something in the names of Lulu, or is it even gonna be a Xayah mixed up with a Rakan, or what do you expect?
To date, there were couple bans on towards Zyra, a couple bans towards Lulu, but a lot of picks, of course, that way. So it is actually still possible to go for a Zyra comp. If it's not banned, if the Zyra shows up, I'm not going to be surprised if the other team takes an Ashe and Zyra. But Zyra Khan, sure. Although I still remember Damgas's Thresh that single-handedly manhandled the entire team fight once against Supernova in the Baron area. So right there, he had an amazing death sentence. He had a huge save with his lantern, and then a great flay also to stop Zack's jump, if I remember correctly, right there. So guaranteeing another kill for his team. And Gamizer will most probably want to grab that Thresh for themselves. And Euronics, yeah, so if Gamizer takes Xayah, they're not going to be unhappy about not having their Khan. And they're not going to be unhappy if the Thresh gets banned, because probably Rakan is also going to be a really strong mix towards that. And then Euronics will want to go for something against it. So there is a possibility of that Ashe Zyra happening. But then also a good performance on Caitlyn from the previous game makes me wonder if it is going to be that Caitlyn for Euronics. Possibly the range is going to be enough to win in lane with Xayah, but this far, I don't think we've seen Xayah losing the laning phase in the tournament. So whenever she got picked, she was quite successful right there. And that definitely tells us something.
Yeah, definitely. So once more, ladies and gentlemen, get ready for our last game today. And this will decide it all. This will decide who will go on to our offline finals in Hamburg at the ELC studios. It would be pretty nice for me to see a German team there, because that would also prove the local scene here is still viable. But also, if Gamizer, if the French team makes it to the offline finals, they will make a good mix here. Because for now, Group A, Alpha Ecstatus were victorious, and in Group B, another Czech Republican team, Isuba, joined them. So just to mix it up a little, either a German or French team will join in the finals.
Oh man. So still just waiting for that one last player from one of the teams to join in on the in-game lobby, and we'll be ready to kick off with the picks and bans. And a little bit of theorizing right here about what could happen, but we'll get to see in just a while. I think Gamizer could, without a problem, go for the same team comp they had against Supernova. Although they have to be careful about letting ESG play what they are comfortable with. But also, as I mentioned, it's not possible to really ban out ESG right here, because they started their performance pretty bad today, and then they picked it up over the course of matches. So today, in this last match, they could be even stronger than against Supernova. And they could pick up completely different compositions. So it's going to be hard for Gamizer to hit. Are they going to hit the team comp ESG went for against the Impact Gaming? Are they going to go for what they've tried against Supernova? Or do ESG have something completely different prepared for Gamizer? Or maybe did they use it in the first game, but they just completely couldn't utilize it inside due to, I don't know, lacking, being rusty? I have no idea how to call it because really I don't know what to say about Donart, who right now seems to be a very good jungler and started off as a horrible one.
Yeah, definitely. And I just hope maybe also something falls down to the composition that we saw earlier, because it was a little bit defensive, not that explosive, not that much damage in there. And they seem to work a bit better playing that aggressive playstyle. We saw that Fiora on the top lane really work out. And also the Karma in the very first game of the day, that really didn't seem to clip. So now going for some more damage dealers here, that seems to be the playstyle that Euronics Gaming should be looking for.
Yeah. Now, also we have to be careful about the amount of damage right there, because both the teams might be going for a completely explosive composition, and it's all going to be about who gets the early kills, and then the entire game is going to end really quickly because the team that falls back, that falls behind a little bit, will already be done for. I definitely am looking forward to mixing in some tanks. Like I said in the match, Gamizer versus Supernova, I actually liked Supernova's composition a little bit better, because for Gamizer it was about everybody succeeding. About the top lane, mid lane, it was Fiora, Syndra, and Zaya, if I'm not mistaken. Fortunately, not everything worked out for them, that's great, but other than that, they had no front line, facing off against two pretty strong tanks of Supernova. So had something gone wrong, it would be pretty bad for them. Now, Euronics might be looking for the same kind of thing. They might be actually stealing that Supernova's comp a little bit. But then on the other hand, I don't necessarily like to protect the carry too much in this case. Because yeah, the Caitlyn was doing really well, but then it was more about other people mostly. So good play from Donards. Definitely huge dominance from that Fiora in the top lane, and also their mid laner able to find many different opportunities. And that's Syndra. Once again, it just goes back to Syndra, the very simple champion that is all about clicking R. When you go ahead, when you get ahead in the game, you can easily obliterate your enemies and make the team fight start with a 5v4. So Gamers really have to be careful once again if they go for such an explosive comp and they give the Syndra over to Euronics. They could be starting with one less of these assassins right off the bat already, and that could be a big blow to them. Really, it could come down actually to the fact that Gamizer and Euronics will both want same champions even. We could see that happen.
Yeah, true that. So a maximum of 6 minutes, that's gonna be the waiting time until we finally get going. I hear there are some little difficulties. The players are still joining, they're taking their time, and maybe Euronics Gaming, maybe they need a little break after that exhausting 2 games that they played.
Yeah, maybe being exhausted might be a factor right here. Euronics, at the end of the day, after all, they're playing 2 matches in a row. That's the 3rd one right now. And even though they are best of ones, always that downtime between the best of ones could be a little tiring, because you cannot actually get into a game in the meantime. You cannot stay warmed up. You have to take that 10-15 minutes of a break until the enemy team is ready to start, and until you go through the picks and bans and all that. And for Euronics, this far, we've seen 3 different styles today. Are they gonna go for yet another one? Are they once again gonna mess with their compositions, or are they gonna pick up something that we'd seen earlier already? That already is exhausting. Like coming up with 3 different, completely different gameplays, and executing two of them at least pretty well.
Yeah, definitely. And
So
talking about exhaustion, so how much of a role does the does it play the feelings and the brains of the game of the players? Does it really come into effect if you're nervous right now, or do you think that all of the players that are pretty much cleared up right now and that they're just ready to go and they just want it to be done, or do you think that the feelings do take an effect here?
there might be a little bit of adrenaline on both the sides, but I don't think that the teams are like completely stressed out. Their hands are shaking or something like that. On the LAN, there is a possibility of that happening, but right here, I still think that for a little bit, for a little part, these teams are still having fun, and they keep in mind that they are getting a lot of experience still by playing all these matches, and they're not going to be completely disappointed by getting knocked out right here. Euronics especially have gone through a very long way, and I feel like they've already been pretty successful by crushing Supernova, which not a lot of people would have expected, especially after having so many troubles with Impact Gaming, who are clearly the weakest team in the group after all. I mean, before the match started, I did not know which way it should go. I thought maybe Impact, maybe Euronics, but Euronics proved to be victorious, but still it wasn't so one-sided. But then they crushed Supernova, and you're like, wow, where did that come from? So now against Gamizers, no idea. Should Gamizers be afraid? Are they afraid, or are they just gonna go for the standard thing right there? Hmm.
Yeah, another thing to note is that even though Euronics lost their first game today, their fans and supporters never stopped believing in them, because always that was something that we could read out of the bets. They were always still believing in Euronics gaming here, and that's maybe something that the players will feel and that will be taken into this final game today. So the countdown running down to 3 minutes, the last preparations, at least that's what I expect, will be made right now.
Yeah, I think already shortly the picks and bans will be starting. So, good luck. Good luck to both the teams. Definitely Gamizer, Euronics. Now it's the last time for you guys to also grab some fistful of popcorn and get ready for this game. No idea who you all are rooting for, but in 2 minutes the bets will be closing. And just a while ago it was 1,700 in favor of ESG to 1,000 only on Gamizer. 8 more hundred are showing right now up on the French account side. So the bets are still changing. Make sure to be in before the match actually starts, and well, that's a huge prize pool. Definitely a lot of betties will be decided by this, but also for the teams, a lot of real life money, because already a travel pack over to Hamburg, and then actually taking part in the finals of this tournament, the LAN finals, where money, real money, will be on the line.
And there we go. Let's get ready, everybody. We are jumping into the bands. So Gamizer, they have the first one of them for themselves, and it's gonna be a Lee Sin ban. So targeting Don Arts here right now. He had a good performance on Lee Sin, but still there's a lot open for him, as we know.
Yeah, and I think that Lee Sin wasn't as impressive to actually ban it. Definitely, Elise was also good, and this makes Euronics consider taking away that Elise from Gamizer even more, or actually they're going to go for the ban of that Elise. Okay, something
Oh
I
yeah,
did not
but
expect.
yeah, because that's something that just comes to my mind. If Gamizer, they could really use 3 bans right now to target Donards here. They could use all their bans on the jungler, because they know that's the weak spot of Euronics Gaming. So if they take out Ivern, if they take out Elise, which Euronics Gaming have done themselves, they could really target him here and maybe force him to go back with that Kha'Zix pick that was not really that good for Euronics Gaming in the first game.
But I think that the Kha'Zix will improve if he picks it that game. And also, yeah, glad that you mentioned the Ivern, because that is open, and I'm not too sure if Gamizer will want to go for it. So maybe we'll finally get to see Donards on this Ivern that we've heard so much of. And actually, there's Aurelion Sol banned out against Gamizer even. And I think it was actually Gamizer that picked that Aurelion Sol, if I'm not mistaken. Gamizer, it wasn't such a strong point in their team. I don't think it's gonna hurt them so much. I feel like it's a little bit misplaced from both sides. Like Lee Sin is not the greatest ban against Euronics. Like that Aurelion Sol is not the greatest ban against Gamizer. But we'll see. Of course, the teams know best what will work well for them.
And the Karma ban coming in as well. Euronics, they have been, I think we have a slight difficulty here with our graphics. And the one missing ban will be done later, as we're just informed by our production crew here. But Nero, just tell me, what do you think about that Karma ban? Because Euronics Gaming, they pretty much seem to like picking that Karma themselves.
Oh, with Gamizer picking Lulu. That's actually a really good idea, in my opinion. Yeah, the Karma, it's not such a necessary pick right there. But then for Rakan, you probably want a Zaya, and that's something that we did not see from Euronics. Now taking away that Lulu, it leaves you with a little bit limited options, and there's still a possibility to go for a Tamkinge, so it's not really going to be a problem. We could still see a Thresh or something along these lines, but the Thresh is something that Game Eyes are actually perform the best with, and they will know how to deal with their comfort picks. So right here, Euronics, I'm wondering what they're gonna go for the bottom lane, because that might be a trap set by Game Eyes right here to try and eliminate possibly the support, not even necessarily the AD carry, but still just make the AD carry play in an uncomfortable situation, make him fall behind in CS. And indeed, Euronics do get that Ivern for Donards, and they should be happy with it. If they will be, if Gamizer has an idea of how to counter that Ivern, we'll see actually inside of the game, but I think they're already going to be good with it.
Yeah, probably also an Ashe coming down here for Gamizer, so they're not going for Zyra Ashe, but instead they're going for Lulu Ashe. So this might be a greedy bot lane here coming up for Gamizer. On the other hand, we've seen that Caitlyn, you mentioned it earlier, Caitlyn might struggle in the early game a little bit, but also has great late game potential. And look at that. There's a Graves being picked. I was wondering if we're going to see him today again, but there we go. Probably a Graves in the jungle that has absolutely dominated on day one, as nearly everybody was watching out for that Graves, either banning him first or picking him first.
Yeah, so it's definitely a good idea from Game Eyes right here. Going for some tricky strats with that bottom lane, banning Karma, picking Lulu for themselves. Graves going into the jungle for Game Eyes right here. That could be an incredibly strong pick that they were hiding. Rengar actually was the last ban, if I'm not mistaken. Probably it was banned earlier, or at least the teams knew about it, because we didn't see a Rengar from Gamizer, and I heard that Gamizer's jungler likes that Rengar a lot, and we already saw what they can do with champions that they like. For instance, the Thresh that the beast of the bottom lane had in the previous game, which makes me wonder why he's not going for that Thresh again. But as I mentioned, this could be some cheeky strats for bottom lane to completely demolish Euronics with that Lulu Ashe combo. So at the end of the day, they don't go for the Zaya, and Caitlyn is already picked for Euronics, so we're not going to get to see that AD carry.
Yeah, definitely. And something that you will probably be happy about is seeing that Syndra being picked here for Euronics, because you're always stressing out how good of a mid laner Syndra really can be, as she's dishing out so much damage, and the ultimate is pretty easy to hit.
Yep. So now waiting for the last 30 seconds to pass until we see the two final picks right there. Euronics are mostly looking forward to well, actually, I'm going to be happy with both the picks because I'm looking forward to the support to see if they're actually going to fall into the trap of Gamizer. But the top lane also was important in the previous game. The Fiora's open. A lot of many different other champions are open. The Kennen, the Rumble. So the ones that are focusing around the team are still in the game, while Euronics could also go for something more individual. I don't know. And I'm not sure if the option against Gamizer is to play individual characters. I'd rather go for some good team play, for some good team comp that's gonna mesh well together, and that way try to beat Gamizer because that's how Supernova were really close of doing that. In the meantime, Gamizer, yeah, they were struggling a little bit with Supernova. So if we compare Team A against Team B and then Team B against Team C, it turns out that Team C is better than Team A. But it doesn't work like that in any sports, in any game. So right here, we cannot say for sure that Euronics is going to be better than Gamizer because they'd beaten Supernova so easily. But definitely Supernova had a good idea. Now, if Euronics builds something on top of that, this could work very well, but there was no Jace ban, and Gamizer did not decide to go for the Jace themselves, and Euronics just like this get the comfortable champion for the top laner of Gamizer. Slightly surprising, but there we go. A Fizz and a Rumble is going to fill out the ranks of Gamizer, and Euronics will have to go for that Nami, which I would normally say is not in their comfort zone, but we'd seen already good Namis in this tournament, and this support gets picked very rarely and only at the end when there's nothing else to do, but it's always quite successful when it gets picked indeed. So I'm gonna be fine with it.
Yeah, but I am most curious about that face by Gamizer because that is absolutely, the potential is in there to absolutely wreck Euronics gaming with that. And we've seen a fist today before, and that was an absolute stunner. So, but in the end, that Jace pick surprises me a little bit that Euronics gaming actually with the last pick are still able to secure that Jace for themselves, because we've seen some bans coming down today on Jace. But in the end, both team compositions look pretty solid to me. And there we are jumping into our group final. It is day 3, Group C. Gamizer from France going up against Euronics Gaming from Germany.
Yeah, the last match of the day, the match that we've all been waiting for, and even the team managers say that in the Twitch chat out here. So everybody's happy to see this match happening, and so the route is missed from Donards at first, but they already want to prove that they will be getting into this jungle. They will be gaining control of Gamizer's buffs. As that Ivern, it's definitely very much wanted by them. Now, Tower on Graves, I definitely liked his performance on the Elise. He had amazing ideas, but the ideas do not depend solely on champions that you're playing, so he can still be that very tricky jungler. You could still definitely obliterate the ESG's lineup with them not expecting it. So hopefully we'll get to see some more of that cheese. And a ton of pings all over the map, but we don't really see any big wards or anything. So still, actually there's going to be a little bit of info on the red buff by Gamizer, so they know what ESG's jungler is doing. Donard's also not so perfect in terms of HP, but well, as he's not going to lose a lot on the jungle routes, it's not going to matter. And again, it's going to be the bottom lane gank indeed. And there is no vision from ESG, so they have to be really... there's the word. Perfect timing from Pandar, and great. Well done, because without it, it would be really bad for them had they lost the first blood already against Gamizer. Just like this, ESG are already bringing themselves much closer to victory, because Gamizer will be pretty disappointed with their game plan not working out, but then still Tower is going to slow down that Ivern a little bit as he steals his blue buff, and he ends up having 2 buffs, and for Ivern not to have a 3 buff rotation, it is a little bit of a loss. So, Some more pings from ESG. They still know about that Graves being in the vicinity, so Tower is not really going to accomplish anything out here in the bottom lane. Wasting a lot of time down there, and that's 3 CS compared to 8 that the Ivern has. And Ivern, in return, Donards is already getting into the upper jungle of the blue team. He's going to steal the Grump, he's going to steal the Wolves, he's going to do very, very well. Well, in the meantime, Graves did not even steal the Wolves, did not even actually take care of anything he had right there. He comes back to his own jungle, possibly finding out to his surprise that a little bit of stuff will be missing out there. But anyway, some good attempts. Gamizer once again showing that they have that good idea, but they're falling a little bit behind in terms of gold, just like this. And the Jace already seems pretty fine. 18 to 8 in the top lane. Rumble is struggling a little bit. And Tsukuyomi always had that little issue with deciding what is right or wrong. Sometimes he'd gone in a little bit over aggressively and was punished for that. So he's got to be careful. Now is pretty low in health, and there is a possibility that the Ivern will show up in the top lane. Donards is already going there. Now he gets even silenced, so yeah, he's just still playing with fire. And there's the attack from ESG, and the hit is not so big from Ivern, but the Jace has got it all covered. Hammer time straight towards Donards, and Donards also went pretty low, but he's going to be able to get that kill alongside with his teammate. And what was that flash? Can anybody explain to me? Probably not. Anyway, just a wasted summoner spell for nothing, but they have the first blood. The extremely complicated ganks from Tower that he's been showing in the previous game did not work out this time, so still he's behind. Even after that burn flash, I don't think Donards is really going to be disappointed with what it is at the moment. So 5 minutes into the game, we've already seen a little bit of action, a little bit of failed action, and definitely a lot of stuff happening in the jungles. Because right now, just take a look at that tower, already aiming at the top lane. Jace could be in big danger. He's got no summoner spells left, while on the other side, Tsukuyomi also doesn't have one, but there's a flash for Graves, and definitely could be useful in playing with the aggro of that turret. The minion wave is not going to be too big though for Tsukuyomi and Tower, so they have to be really careful. Oh yeah, just as Shock Blast is already enough to kind of put them at a disadvantage. Though actually Tsukuyomi's going to be slowed down. No, he survives. Two-pack showing up right here without him. It would be, in my opinion, a little bit too hard, but instead, it's a good kill for Gamizer, and that's what Tower likes, because he wasted a little bit of time in the bottom lane. Now, he gets it back in the top lane. So, had the enemy team just countered his ganks over and over again, it would put that Graves very far behind in the jungle. Just like this, okay, he wasted his possibility in the bottom lane, but he got it back in the top lane. If one gank works, the other doesn't, it's not a bad thing, definitely. Because you have to be aware of that. Not everything is always going to work. You know, in a little bit of problems. In a little bit of trouble, definitely right there. And the exhaust is going to shut down Big Fat. Now he flashes away also to survive the attacks of Damga's the Beast. He definitely is a beast. Definitely was with that Thresh. And he's going to turn it all around. Not enough mana for the Glitter Lens, if I'm not mistaken. And their Panda is going to survive. Great play by ESG in the bottom lane, and they're also going to find the kill on towards the AD carry, as coming down from the middle lane is Crossman. He had to use up the flash to get it, but I think it's more than worth it. Double kill in the bottom lane, also a lot of pressure, and the Caitlyn is able to stay there, so it's even going to be more advantage in terms of the CS. Also, good HP on the side of Donards, good HP for Crossman, and they will be able to still stay a little bit longer. Or actually, maybe not Donards, because he's got no mana, but Crossman can still rack up a little bit of farm for himself, and he's still ahead of that FaZe. FaZe went top to get the kill on Jace, and it worked out for them, but ESG had a much more impressive situation right now in the bottom lane. Well then, 3 assists already on Donards. So nothing compared to what he's shown us on the Kazakhs in the first game of the day. He's just got the 100% kill participation. He's showing up everywhere. He's countering the gangs of the Graves. He's countering his jungle. He's reading through the movements of the enemy team on the map. He's not sitting in the jungle all the time as an Ivern. So, yeah, the progress is just amazing. And is he going to actually be stealing the buffs too, additionally? Because, well, that's an element of gameplay on the Ivern, and that's what you usually do want to see when you've got one in your team. But even if they don't manage to do that, he's still doing more than well. Bilgewater Cutlass bots up on the bottom lane by Shito. He's still got no Boots of Speed, while on the other side there's a BF Sword and Boots of Speed and a Dagger. So Caitlyn, in my eyes, this far is doing so much better. Additionally, the slow that's coming through from the Tidecaller's Blessing could be really lethal in the bottom lane. You could see already a big team fight out there with the use of Crossman and Donards too, so these things could be happening more often, I think. So, Big Fat trying to land a little bit of damage on the turrets, and that's something we've got to focus on too. Well, 90 caliber net missed, but a great build of a Peacemaker to take away a huge bits of HP from Shito. There's an equalizer, but it's not going to block Big Fat too much. But then Panner is in a little bit of danger. Collateral damage is not enough to take out either of them. And level 6 is not yet on Panner. That could be really useful to get the tidal wave right here. Big Fat has got his ace in a hole though. Graves is recalling in a little bit of a dangerous spot, but he's not going to be spotted and he's not going to be dead. For sure, that ace in the hole would not have done enough damage. Supak, well, he's a fizz. He is going to run away from there, actually. Burning the flash right here. He did not have the Trickster anymore. And also coming back from the top lane is Jace. He is also landing a little bit of damage on the turret in there. Forcing the Fizz to recall in the middle is also going to guarantee a little bit of damage in the mid turret. So ESG are definitely going to be much closer to securing the first structure of the game. Well then, 3-1 already. We're getting quite a bloody game this far. It's 10th minute and we already have 4 kills right here. That could mean that we're going to get a ton of team fights later on. Of course, both these teams will very much want to grab the victory. Oh, still the shield on Daisy to just keep her alive for a little bit longer. Like that little touch. Anyway, though, Rift Herald will surely have to be taking this game. Will just matter so much, but the jungle control, not really sure who has the better. Even though there is an Ivern on the lineup of ESG, Tower is also still trying to counter jungle. He's trying to get into that enemy's jungle all the time. Well, that's gonna be a little bit of a painful situation for the Jace, who just used up the teleport and still got killed right after he got away. Great equalizer though from Tsukuyomi, and I feel a little bit disappointed by the top laner of ESG. Teleporting on top of an equalizer is not a good idea usually. You're soaking up so much of that damage. Great jump the waters though. Habit of Flow still to try and heal up Donards, and he stays alive for a little bit longer, though the bubble hits, but the Aqua Prison is not enough to save his teammate. He's jungler, and blue team is actually going to get the first turret. Gamizer at the top lane, and the bottom lane situation worked out very well for them. They don't have the jungler in the vicinity though, so the dragon is not going to be attempted. It is still also only a Cloud Drake, so, and that's going to be not such a big point of focus. Pandora, I think he could have made that Aqua Prison a little bit better, but yeah, if not the dragon, then the Rift Herald. I just said that it's going to be extremely useful to both the teams, and Gamizer are actually coming out on top in terms of the push in the top lane. They are also going to be able to take the Rift Herald right now and possibly use it top. I don't know, it could easily take out one of the outer turrets, but I think I would take the risk and take it to the top lane to take an inner very, very early into the game. And that would be That would already be giving a lot of map control over to Gamizer. That would give a little bit of free farm though to ESG up there at the top lane though. But oh, anyway, the one turret is traded back very, very quickly. But you've still got to remember that the Rift Herald is there, so Gamizer have one turret in their bank already. They just have to come up and take it. Well then, game once again slows down with Gamizer evening everything out seemingly, but the gold advantage is still there for ESG in the form of 1,000. Caitlyn building herself up further and further, but Ashe was behind a while earlier. Now she's got the Blade of the Rune King, and Caitlyn is still aiming towards that Infinity Edge, so it's still going to take a little bit of time. And Tsukuyomi is going to jump over, and they were on the right side if they wanted to dive the turret. Instead, they walked around through the explosive plant, and alright, it's going to be a Rift Herald, it's going to be a turret taken down, so still not too bad, but I feel like they could have gotten even a double kill in this situation. Like that, Big Fat and Panda will surely survive. In the top lane, Jace is also pushing. He could be taking another outer turret, so it's going to be 2-2. And Gamizer actually, yeah, with that double kill, it would have been amazing. But without the kills at the bottom lane, with just taking one single turret and then not much more, because it's going to be one more headbutt from the Rift Herald. And okay, never mind. He punched it again. So now the turret is at about half HP. Oh, there goes Redemption. That's going to be a little bit of additional healing. And Tsukuyomi goes down once again. Something that I didn't like about him in one of the games played by Gamizer when he was playing Fiora. He once again does it. He's sometimes a little bit over aggressive, doesn't know when to fall back, and that was an unusual, unneeded death. So, I definitely can't say I'm happy with it, because they did not use the possibility to kill the bottom lane of ESG. They lost a man unnecessarily completely out there, and Jace was able to trade a turret back, so that Rift Herald didn't really give them so much. And right now they have to catch up as ESG once again are coming out slightly on top between the particular champions. There's 800 gold lead in the middle, 800 gold lead in the bottom lane too, so ESG are clearly winning the Syndra Fizz battle and Caitlyn Ashe this far, but Caitlyn is completely out farming. Same for Syndra. Talking about the kills, it's not so bad. Fizz has got a kill and an assist. We could already see him roaming around, and he was a little bit more successful than Syndra on a Crossman. Only got that one kill in the bottom lane. That was quite obvious. When he went there, it was a 4v2. They were supposed to get that. I wouldn't be surprised. It would be a little bit of a failure if they didn't. There we are. The inner turret in the middle falls down. There's an equalizer though, just to lock them in, but I don't think that they want to run away, as you can clearly go for a team fight. Jace is not going to be left alive for too long, but Tupac jumping a little bit too deep. He's going to have to pay for it with his life too, and only 2 people remain. 3 people, never mind. Shito is going to be dead, but I still am surprised that ESG are not going in confidently. These guys are a little bit too afraid. Maybe because Gamizer won against them in the first match, but they definitely have what it takes in order to grab the victory. And they should be looking for it. That's 4,000 lead in their favor, but maybe they're a little bit afraid not to push it too far. And that's also something that I understand. In the meantime, the Cloud Drake will finally fall. And actually, Euronics Gaming getting so close to the inhibitor turret, nearly even diving the inhibitor turret so early into the game. It's only the 17th minute, so it feels like it's a little bit later already. Tsukuyomi, okay. He's looking for some damage on towards Big Fat. That's a flash from Lulu, a little bit of a slow, but Big Fat should be able to get away from there. Great Ural snap trap. The first wasn't timed too well, and it wasn't in the place could not be avoided. But now, that is his escape. Timely escape, definitely. And once again, we get a replay of that. A little failed equalizer. See, it falls right behind the ranks of the enemy team. And ESG already had that turret, so they didn't lock them down anywhere. They have the advantage in a straight 5v5 fight. But once again, they were just not decided if they wanted to do that. The Redemption also misses the important targets. Crossman had low HP, Panther had low HP. They didn't get healed up. That could have continued the fight for them. So, yeah. It is 8-4 in favor of ESG, although I have a feeling that this fight could have been even better. Well then, waiting for another step forwards by ESG, and I feel like a lot could happen in this game. The Rift Herald was taken by Gamizer, so ESG, it shows that they don't necessarily have the greatest map control they could have. They didn't have vision around that important target at the time they needed. When the Baron spawns, though, I hope that they're going to have control of that part of the map, because it's going to be extremely important. 4-0-1 and Caitlyn, 0-0-5 on Nami, 2-0-4 on their mid laner, Crossman on Syndra. It's looking quite nice, but now Crossman is caught by Chum the Waters, but then there's the ace in the hole and the Unleashed Power, but no last hit. But actually Donards is also going to jump in with the Daisy. Daisy's speed up is being boosted with the movement speed. Oh man, I got mixed up in that so much, but Donards indeed guarantees his team the kill. Crossman is going to be the one to take it, so that's the third for Syndra already. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow misses, so there's going to be no dive. Big Fat will be able to fend the enemies off at the middle turret, and another one goes down in the bottom lane. So one structure ahead is ESG right now. A ton of pings around the upper part of the map, some around the lower part, as Donards is going to interfere with the enemy jungle, and maybe he's going to be coming in from behind. Remember, there's no inner turret in the middle. That's a tidal wave that's going to knock up Damgus and also Tower, so maybe they're going to try to chase even further. But for now, they definitely have the kill on Lulu. Also, Ashe falls down around the Baron pit at the same time, and Baron has just spawned. This is going to be a tragical situation for Gamizer if ESG actually decide to go for that Baron, and they do. They have a ton of healing plants in here, so Jace is definitely going to use that. They are missing a little bit of mana on a couple people, definitely, but Tsukuyomi falls right into the trap. Big Fat is unstoppable. They do get the kill on the Rumble. There is no equalizer danger in the area, but they do decide to fall back. And in my opinion, it's a good idea with Graves around. That Baron could have easily been stolen. With Fizz around, a good Chum the Waters with a huge range, or rather with a huge area instead of range, excuse me, would have also completely wreaked havoc in the lineup of ESG. But instead, this team fight, I've got not much to say. There was nothing that they did wrong. They killed whoever they had to kill, and yeah, they didn't fall back. They were not afraid. So 7,000 gold difference. That difference is just getting bigger and bigger. And it's already quite huge. It's gonna start reaching 10,000 shortly, but does it look like ESG have such a huge advantage? 1,000 in favor of Jace in the top lane, 1,000 in favor of Ivern in the jungle. In the middle lane, that's the huge difference they have. That's 2,000, more than 2,000 even in favor of Syndra, and the same in the bottom lane. So these are the guys that lead the most. It is Crossman and Big Fat. Big Fat sitting on Unstoppable, 3 assists, 5 kills, 4 kills, 6 assists for Crossman. These guys are amazing, they're out of their minds. And Donards does not have 100% kill participation anymore, but it doesn't matter. He's still very, very useful to the team, as that Ivern, so much better than the Kazakhs we saw at the beginning of the day. Tsukuyomi's going to be caught out once again. This guy seriously has some positioning issues, but at this moment, I cannot say a bad word about him. I mean, you could not expect that to happen. It's just ESG completely dominating the game, so it is possible that you'll get caught out by the enemy team. And also, that Redemption didn't really hit Big Fat, so he's going to have to try and life steal up the Rift Coupler. But they now show up as whole 5 in the top lane. It is an easy inner turret taken in by them, and another inner turret is very much open in the bottom lane. That could be a possibility. Crossman He's got it, apparently. Well, Enchanted Crystal Arrow hits, but there is no danger, so they're going to be fine. Baron is definitely up in the cards, and this Baron will be very important for ESG, though I don't feel like they have what it takes to kill it. Kill it safely, most importantly. And yeah, I'm wondering what they're going to do. A Desperation Baron call from Gamizer? Well, that's what we're seeing right now. Oh, Tsukuyomi losing half of his HP from one attack from Syndra. He's in a very uncomfortable position, but nobody else is approaching him. Only Donners, but Donners also has some good damage, especially with the Baron helping him out. Tupac also right next to Donners, so I'm not too sure if he should be focusing on the Rumble. He is going to get the kill on FaZe, but at the same time, they lose their AD carry. That's the first death on Big Fat. Tsukuyomi is gonna get finished off. What a great throw by Syndra, and coming in from the side is Donners. He does not hit the root, but he's going to get some movement speed boost for himself, and Damgus should be dead in no time. No mana on the Jace also. That's a little bit problematic, but they do secure that kill. 1 for 3. Very nicely done. Though without Caitlyn, they cannot continue the push or do anything else. Or actually, Crossman finds the kill on Ash, and he might be getting the kill on Tara also. What a tag to close it out. That's an ace. And it's only the 24th minute into the game. Tupac is going to be spawning, so they cannot stay in here anymore, that for sure. But already recalling, falling back, they could be headed over to the Baron. They could be headed over for the Drake pit. There's a Mountain Drake, pretty important one, waiting for them. And only inhibitor turrets remain pretty much. In the bottom lane, there's still an inner turret available for a GMZ, but I don't think it's going to matter so much. It's going to go down real quickly as soon as Euronics put their hands on it. So, 18-5. Pretty bloody game, but extremely one-sided in favor of ESG this far, and that's something that I'm pretty happy to see, because earlier on was 30-20 or something along these lines, but these were a lot of mistakes made by both sides. And right here, ESG is just punishing Gamizer's mistakes over and over and over again, and they themselves are not losing too much. Well, the Baron still as the target. Mountain Drake was taken, so that Baron will go down a tiny bit easier. That's always something to look forward to if we're talking about ESG. They do have control over the Rift Scuttler too. The blue turret indeed falls to the bottom lane, so just as I said, as soon as they go to the bottom, the inner turret is going to fall. Right now, somebody's got to take care of that Jason. I don't think that Tsukuyomi's got what it takes, but actually, it's going to be the Jace falling back. There's the ults. Oh my god, the ults are just stacking up, based in the whole Unleashed Power and the tidal wave, but they're not even able to kill the support. Wild Growth is enough, and the Wild Growth didn't get used. So, I have no idea why it didn't work out. Now, why it was so bad, but right now FaZe showing up in the bottom lane alongside with the Rumble. It is an easy Baron attempt right here for ESG, though they still are also deciding not to go for it, surprisingly enough. And well, let's see if ESG can finally make that move, because them delaying it too much is also not the greatest idea. So the game slows down a little. 0-0-14, by the way. This just looks like such a perfect scoreline for Pandar. Only missing 4 kills out there with the assists that he's got. But it's pretty much the same for Syndra. 14 kills that she's taken part in. 8 frags for her. And 6 assists. That's a legendary status already, and she'll be looking for even more. Gamizer, they're also not really building up at all. If we're talking about the vision, yeah, the trinkets will be coming back off cooldown for ESG real shortly, and they will be taking care of everything. Is there a far side orb? There is one on Fizz. 2-pack, is he close enough to toss it in? I don't think so. So right now, they're all collapsing in. That's going to be tower coming in from behind. Tries to steal, but does not get that steal off. It's actually Syndra to get the kill on Baron, so still the smites haven't really been so accurate. Anyway, though, the red team will definitely be happy with having the Baron on their account. A great equalizer across nearly the entirety of ESG's team. And Jace is not so safe right there. He's going to lose a lot of HP, but he's still got that Hex Drinker, if I'm not mistaken. That's actually Morph. Morch even completed. Shido's going to go down to him. And 2-pack from behind. Collapse on by Syndra and Ivern. And only the Rumble remains. Tsukiyomi, as I mentioned, he does not have the greatest games today as that top lane. He always wants to do a lot and sometimes succeeds very nicely, but sometimes it just doesn't work out for him. Now with the Baron and a clean ace, I think that we can call it a GG already right here, but do they have enough pushing power? Actually, with such a fed Caitlyn, with Big Fat sitting on 615 and him having an Infinity Edge, Brunan's Hurricane and Hex Drinker, it's enough, but it doesn't even have to be. Victory for ESG. Gamizer decided to surrender after that last team fight with Lulu respawned already 2 seconds until Fizz comes back and 4 seconds until their AD carry. So maybe a little bit of a questionable decision because they could have defended their Nexus for a little bit longer, but they knew that it was a hopeless game. They never could have actually turned it all around. All the time, they got some singular kills, but it was always actually ESG leading the charge right here. So here we go. ESG dominate the Group C after losing their first match. Starting from the losers brackets, they won all 3 in a row. That's amazing to see. We were talking about how Group C could be the closest one. It indeed was, and we've seen some surprises. And finally, Gamizer versus Supernova, that was the winners match. Usually we would see that also being the finals match, and the one that won the winners would win the finals. Here, not only did Supernova not go back to the finals to face off against Gamizer, but also Gamizer did not manage to win to grab the first place spot in the group. So I'm really happy to see that. And also in Hamburg, Germany, the Germans will also have their team